Now you'll notice when they approach fences, their movement speed will be shortened because each man has to climb over the fence. And moving like this while under enemy fire is demoralizing to your units. So you want to quickly, once you're under fire, move into column by divisions if the enemy's out of musket range, or into line formation if they're within musket range as quickly as possible. Now there's a couple more buttons here as well. We have double line, column, line. Now as you can imagine, double line, what it would do is we have 3 regiments. It would put 2 of our regiments in front, 1 in reserve. If we had 4, 2 regiments in front, 2 in reserve. So it's going to split your lines in half, favoring obviously a greater number forward to fight in combat. So the men are nicely in column, just as ordered, and now we're ready to move to our destination. Via column. Now, later in this tutorial, once we get a couple more brigades here, we'll move our entire division into double line to show you guys what it looked like having all of our units in double line formation. Line formation, we would be spread out quite far. We can cover a lot of distance and bring everyone to bear, as long as the enemy has lines of equal length. And it's pivotal when you play this game that you know how to command your troops. Otherwise, your formations are going to go all over the place, and you don't want to make errors while playing this game. It could really throw a wrench in your wheel spokes, if you know what I mean. So in many ways, it's a command simulation game, just as they had stated in their game manual. This is a command-oriented game, where right now we are playing as Brigadier General Lysander Cutler. We can take individual command of regiments, but usually the AI will control them in battle, and we'll give small orders here and there, move our general around to support them during combat. So at the moment we have 934 men under our control. Other formations. Here are 2 more regiments, the 147th New York and the 56th Pennsylvania. With these regiments you have additional options for formations. There are other formations you might use during battle. The double line formation is used when you only have a limited amount of room for your unit, or you need defense in depth to repel a heavy attack. It's plugging holes in the line, etc. Brigade skirmish formation sends 1 regiment ahead of the rest and places in skirmish formation. This formation is useful when moving through woods or other dense cover. The skirmishing unit will locate enemy units and allow the rest of the brigade time to respond. Okay. So, here come the 147th New York right here. And the 56th Pennsylvania. Excellent. think what we'll do is we'll use this field right here to demonstrate some of the formations. Alright, men. General Cutler. Move him there. And let's give the command for our men to, let's see here, move into double line formation. Now, regiments close to where they need to line up at, we'll go ahead and move into line formation. So the 147th will move here. The 95th New York Regiment will move here. The 84th will continue in line by column and then move into line formation. Let's take a look at this unit right here. The 147th New York. They're carrying the 1853 pattern Enfield, made in Britain. It has a range of 160 yards. Standard smooth bore musket. Over here they have mixed calibers. Usually we'll want to put our best rifles forward. Here's the model 1861 Springfield. You can see these guys in the back. They were the sergeants at the time, and the sergeants would keep up morale in the back of the ranks and also tap guys on the shoulders and order them to plug in holes that would start popping up along the line, and men that would want to take a step back would be stopped and pushed back forward back in the line. So it was a gritty business fighting in line formation back then, and men's spirit wavered constantly, so you had to have more veteran soldiers, sergeants, keep the men in line. That's where that term comes from. Keep the men in line. Comes from when we used to fight in line formation. Alright. So 1st Division's looking pretty good. Don't look too bad online. Alright. Now the next formation I'm going to use here is skirmish. So I know the other regiment isn't quite in position yet, but let's go ahead and hit the skirmish button. And have our regiments move into skirmish formation. Looks like the Zouaves are going to take the role of skirmisher. And then we'll pour it out to the wheat fields out there in skirmish line. And they will spread out from here to here. One regiment, 318 men, all spread out into the wheat fields. If this video is a little bit too slow for some of you, that's fine, just go ahead and skip ahead. But this is the actual speed at which our men can perform these maneuvers. in combat, which is pretty darn fast considering we're commanding right now over 1,500 men. Now, the skirmish formation is basically paired off individuals. You'll have one platoon-sized unit in the middle as strength, and then two more company-sized units in the back. So usually, like a unit of this size would have an A company, a B company, a C, and a D, maybe an E or an F company, each with between 20 to 30, or well, it depends on the size, but between 30 to 50 individuals per company. Okay. And then lieutenants would basically take charge of the men at that size, at that level. So if they were taking casualties here and here, these companies here would fill in the holes. Okay. So there you have it. At this point, we'd be ready to enter into any wooded territory with relative security to the front. Alright. Now it's time to move our men back into column formation near the road. And we're going to be practicing moving an entire division to a location via the road. So once everybody's back in column, we'll be moving the division, and we'll have them use the road to move to this objective over here. So they'll form into columns, and then one by one they'll move onto the road over to here and fall back into columns here. Okay. Now this is one of the hardest maneuvers to perform, mainly because so many people click the wrong buttons, but I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is to do it once you know how to do it. You don't want your men moving on the battlefield to a faraway location. Say we're moving over here off in the distance to this road. I don't want our men traveling over all these fences and through all these fields and then these cornfields and that copse of trees up there just to get over there. We would take the road instead. Sure, keep our men's feet happy and keep their morale high and their fatigue high. Their fatigue bar high. Keep their fatigue low. So we're going to go ahead and speed this up here. Alright, so now we're ready to give the command to move by column using the roads. Alright, first let's select Brigadier General Lysander, our commanding unit. We'll have him move there. We'll have him move that position. Then we will click over here on this move button down here. We will click Use Roads. And that's all. That's all you needed to do. The main button to click though there was Use Roads. So, simple as ordering your commander to move to a location, They're already in column formation. And then use roads. Okay? If we wanted them to move to that location and then immediately move into double line, we would have double line selected and use roads. Okay? Let's watch as our men perform this maneuver. Now, if you're in command of a division such as we are right now, and a runner on a horse comes down to bear you orders saying move your division to this location 2 miles down the road and support this flank, then this is the command you would issue to move your division down the road. And then once you reach that location, you would have your men fill in the line however you see fit according to your orders. Okay? So this isn't that far. Right after this, we're going to have to move our men even farther using the same command. At this point, we'll just watch our men move. I'm a big fan of historical war sims. I'm also a big fan of the Civil War time period for the United States. The way that they fought back then, you must have had a shit ton of courage to stand in the line, just stand up in the open like they did and fight like this, shoulder to shoulder. A lot of these men served the entire period of the Civil War. That's a lot of fighting. It's a lot of time spent doing that. The casualties in the Civil War were horrendous, mainly because both sides were American. So there were 100% American casualties. And then medical practices back then weren't that good. Didn't know about bacteria and how to prevent infections. And cutting off an arm or a leg was common practice back then for a soldier shot in either of those locations. Especially if it hit the bone, shattered the bone. The bullets back in those time periods, most of them were round shot. Later on, rifled shot became more prevalent. But they were big slugs, like big 50 caliber slugs. And they fired. They weren't the velocity at which these musket balls fired wasn't that high. So bullets wouldn't ricochet off bones and then exit the body. Instead, they would shatter the bones and lodge themselves in the bones, and which leads to much more horrific injuries. And when a bullet enters a man's body, it's pulling in the cloth that was in front of him, pulling the cloth into the wound, and that cloth could have been dirty with bacteria and all the dirt and grime from the road and all the sweat and everything else in that cloth, just instantly infecting that wound. So you can only imagine. Firepower back then wasn't measured by the weapons so much, but more by the number of troops you had holding weapons, because these were all single-shot rifles. So the speed at which your men can reload and pour on the fire was what was most important. So the more men you can bring to the front to shoot these single-shot rifles, the more firepower you can bring to bear. Okay, moving on roads. All the previous movement commands have ignored roads. However, movement by road is faster than marching over fields or in woods. Using roads is done this way. I showed you guys earlier, but I'll read this. First, select the commander, then select the designation, then the ending unit formation, and finally click the Use Roads buttons. Use Road buttons. Okay. So first, we would select the commander, General Lysander Cutler. Then we would click on the destination. The general will immediately begin moving to that destination. Then we'll go ahead and click the formation we want them to form at the end of that. And then we'll hit the Use Roads button. Okay? It's as easy as that. So let's perform this maneuver one more time. And our objective is way over here. So you can see why we would want to move via roads, because it's pretty far away. And I'll speed it up once we give this command. Alright. So first we move our commander. Then we'll move on we'll give them the formation. I'm going to have them in column still. And then we'll have them use road. Okay? Actually, I can have them do column road. Like that. There we go. So we can take our general, road column, use roads. See? Now all the units will line up. They'll march down the road just like this, using the roads. Okay? So that's what they'll be doing for the next 10 minutes. So I might cut this out in the video. I might not. Some people just like watching our soldiers marching. If you guys want to go ahead and skip further ahead in the video, I'd say about like 10 minutes or so. Okay, but I'm going to speed up the time.